It's July 20th, 1998. There is supposed to be a contingent holding a vigil out there on Fort Point for a ship that is bringing in spent nuclear fuel rods from North Korea as part of a bailout deal that the Clinton government did last year, and also trying to preserve the safety of the spent nuclear rods. They're taking them from North Korea. Now this group is holding a vigil to protest these rods, which are going to the Concord Naval Weapons Station in the East Bay. There's a port over there.
We're here today to protest the profoundly flawed and dangerous policy of bringing back high-level radioactive waste in the form of spent nuclear fuel from U.S.-supplied foreign research reactors through the San Francisco Bay Area to Concord up over the Red River Canyon. Temporary, they say, storage at the Idaho National Engineering Laboratory. But those two boats out there are with the Peace Navy and Baykeeper. They are part of our group here today. The exact time of the shipment is not known to us, although we've heard rumors that it will be coming in tonight, hanging out in the bay, and then heading up the Martinez Strait in the morning.
The shipment route puts the San Francisco Bay Area at risk. These ships, as they come through the bridge and under the Martinez Strait, will be competing with the oil tankers. This is a scenario for the most horrific kind of accident, fire, and potential danger. I live in Livermore, near the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. The groundwater underneath my home and the homes of my neighbors is part of a contaminated plume emanating from the laboratory into the community. We who live in Livermore know that we must be skeptical of Department of Energy assurances of safety.
We're all in this boat together, okay? And we all have to work together to keep the boat from sinking. Now, let's remember, what did they tell us about the Titanic? That boat is unsinkable. Now, the DOE is telling us that these casks are unbreakable. Well, I don't know how many of you have learned to only believe what you're told. But in reality, boats can sink and casks can break. And the result is loss of human life. And human life is sacred. And it's a hell of a lot more important than the profits that are being made from the commerce of moving around the nuclear materials. So it may appear that the spent fuel casks are very safe and pose no threat. And if you ask anybody from the Department of Energy, that's their standard answer. But beneath the surface, there appears that there contains plutonium isotopes, the most deadly substance known. Now, it may appear on the surface that this policy is good to bring these fuel rods from other countries into Idaho. But behind this policy, under the surface, is a mindset that perpetuates and condones the use of nuclear weaponry. These shipments are directly related to the continued proliferation of nuclear weapons.
We are here to join that this is another example to us of environmental racism or environmental injustice, because when this ship comes through this water, coming around Richmond through our communities, is coming around Afro-American communities in North Richmond, the same communities that are on the front line of the chemical assault from the refinery and other chemical releases. When this ship goes by the Rodale, Hercules area, you're going by other low-income, poor communities. This is compounding the same environmental injustice. In 1994, President Clinton signed the executive order on environmental justice, requiring all the federal agencies to analyze their policies and to see how if they were contributing to environmental injustice and to adopt policies that would not contribute to environmental injustice. But this is environmental injustice right here because the Department of Navy, the Department of Energy have not had any type of public hearings in our communities at all. Those people in Richmond, in the Rodeo, Hercules area, low-income communities of color, is not even aware of the risk and the threat from these nuclear rods that are going to be sailing by our communities any minute now.
Shipping fuel rods from foreign countries through the Golden Gate on its way to Concord, to Idaho, and who knows where from there is irresponsible and unnecessary, and it's part of this country's policy to export nuclear power technology across the globe. America is telling the world that we're willing to be the dumping grounds for over 40 countries. We sold the technology to these countries, and the deal was, you take the technology, we'll take the waste. And in the meantime, this government is exposing its citizens to some of the most dangerous and longest-lasting poisons that humankind has ever produced. We should stop promoting nuclear power around the world. We should be exporting sustainable energy resources around the world. It's too small a world to mess around in this way. And the nuclear power experiment has not worked. It's an irresponsible and dangerous one. And what we say is, instead of shipping this waste and exposing all the people on this side of the United States, on the other side of the United States, to these casks that have not been adequately tested for safety, instead of doing that, this waste should remain on site in highly engineered, monitored, retrievable storage facilities where this waste can be isolated from the environment, not distributed in an unsafe way.
We're moving this nuclear waste to a temporary site. That's ridiculous. Would you move your home once and then have to move it again, or would you wait and plan so you only have to move it once? And if you were going to move your home, would you move it over a dangerous mountain pass and then maybe have to move it back down? We demand that Senator Barbara Boxer and Representative Robert Matsui start representing the citizens of Northern California. Stop these trains.
Here's the arrival of the ship. Bringing the nuclear cargo from Korea. From Korea, the spent nuclear fuel rods, accompanied by a flotilla of police boats, coming under the Golden Gate right now, the 21st of July, 1998, heading into Martinez to the Amtrak station in order to transfer the load to the railroad. Very small ship, almost like a tramp freighter, cheapo. Heading across the Sausalito Peninsula now, going into the shipping